Build the kind of person who can create and reproduce value. Human capital is destiny. Your life improves when your capacity improves. The real moral battle is responsibility versus dependence. The real practical battle is standards, self control, skill, and health versus excuses. Human capital is accumulated capability, the skills, knowledge, habits, and cultural practices that enable individuals and groups are to generate economic value. And it's not limited to formal education or technical ability. It includes the broader set of attributes that determines productivity, work habits, discipline, attitudes toward learning, the willingness to delay gratification, and the instinct to acquire skills and knowledge. These traits are shaped by culture and historical experience. Human capital is passed down through the values, norms, and practices transmitted from generation to generation. Culture is human capital in motion. How will you know this? Take a hard look at the people you know. Compare, contrast, and judge the behavior of what they do from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. Look at their standards, their routines, their ability to tell themselves no, their willingness to learn, their relationship with discomfort, their tendency to blame versus building, their ability of delaying gratification. Where their life currently sits is rarely random. When what they possess and earn is often a direct reflection of human capital expressed over time. Now, yes, there are exceptions: illness, disability, crisis, true catastrophe. But for able bodied adults, behavior is a receipt. If you have no self reliant people in your circle, that's a signal. You don't need more people, you need a better diameter, a tighter circle of capable people who trade accountability, not excuses. You don't need many, you need reliable, and you need to be one. Human capital explains what people refuse to say out loud. Differences in human capital explain variations in economic success among ethnic groups and societies more than external factors like discrimination or institutional barriers. Groups with strong work ethic, education, morals, productivity, creativity, and trust-based networks tend to reproduce economic success across generations, regardless of political or geographic context. Geography does matter. It matters, sometimes massively. But the point of understanding geography is not to worship it, it's to use it. Information becomes leverage when it upgrades your decisions. Habits, delayed gratification, intergroup trust, these are not soft ideas, they're economic mechanisms. When trust is high, transaction costs fall. Less money spent on enforcement, security, bureaucracy, and suspension. More speed, more corporation, more compounding. This is how culture become engines. Human capital can be enhanced or diminished depending on cultural and social environment, which explains phenomena like rising IQ scores across generations, improved conditions, practices, nutrition, expectations, and training. To believe in personal responsibility would be to destroy the whole special role of the anointed, whose vision cast them in the role of rescuers of people treated unfairly by society. That's Thomas Sowell from the book of The Vision or the Anointed. This is why self-reliance is controversial. It deletes the job description of the rescuer class. And when you delete someone's job description, they call you dangerous. Money isn't evil, it's a mirror. One thing we all can agree on is the struggle of life minus money. People love repeating packaged sayings. Money is the root of all evil. More money, more problems. Most of the time, that isn't wisdom. That's gatekeeper psychology. A slow drip designed to brand ambition as dirty and wealth as suspicious, so you stay domesticated. Because the moment you accept a stigma around money, you don't have to confront the real issue. Your lack of capability, your lack of leverage, your lack of agency. Those are the real issues. A life without money isn't automatically pure. It's usually survival mode. And survival mode turns people into versions of themselves they swear they're not. Here's a simple test. Imagine money disappears from your daily existence. No bills, no prices, no wages, no savings, no ability to store value, no ability to trade value efficiently. Now ask yourself, do you picture heaven or do you picture chaos? A world minus money is not some enlightened garden. It's typically a darker world where the strong take, the weak beg, and the clever barter with fear. Money isn't holy. Money isn't evil. Money is an amplifier. Money is necessary. It magnifies what's already inside the human holding it. So if you're afraid that getting money will make you evil, I'll feed you this red pill. If you think money will turn you evil, the shadow is already there. You've just been pretending you don't have one. The object isn't the villain. The person is the liability. We do something childish when we talk about money. We blame the object like it has a soul, motive, and intent, as if money woke up this morning plotting your downfall. Money doesn't have a personality. You do. And you're not just a personality. You're a system. And systems can be upgraded or they can decay. Train the mind. You need to condition the body. You need to refine incentives. Control the environment. Rewrite the narrative. Control the story, especially the story you tell yourself. This is evolution, mechanical transformation. An obsession with these fundamentals compounds into earnings and into wealth. Money is a tool that responds to human behavior, good or bad. And the highest form of self-respect is learning to handle power without letting it handle you. That's where Thomas Sowell becomes useful, not as a mascot, not as a political trophy or whatever people try to label him as. He is somebody that I've been studying for a while, and he pierces right through reality. He writes unapologetically. His standards are facts, and how he gets his facts is through empirical evidence. Nothing else matters. Nothing else needs to be said. Nothing else holds the value. If it doesn't reach facts, if it doesn't have the empirical evidence, I believe it doesn't reach his Thomas Sowell's lens. And that's how we all should be living. Because if we pay attention to other things and we eliminate living a life, eliminate it from facts, things become complicated. We start making ridiculous, self-destructive, counterproductive, irrational decisions. We lack the ability to understand. We lack the ability to build, to provide, to produce, to have a better future, because we simply decide to ignore facts.
We train our minds to not gather empirical evidence, which us understanding these things, it serves us. It serves our future. And then eventually, if it will serve the ones that we so call that we love. He is a surgeon of reality, and he gives a definition that should sit at the top of your life like a commandment. Human capital is simply the whole range of skills, traits, discipline, even physical health that enable people to produce more than other people. Listen to that again. Human capital is simply the whole range of skills, traits, discipline, even physical health that enable people to produce more than other people. Skills, traits, discipline, physical health. That's not ideology, that's physics. That's capacity. And capacity is what money follows, because money is attracted to output, value creation, and reliability. So if you're starting from nothing and you want wealth in a divine, productive way, I'm going to simplify your priorities into doctrine. Your two obsessions should be health and money, not as topics, as curriculums, not as vibes, as evidence, not as something that you keep outsourcing to gurus and institutions so you can feel like you're doing something. I mean, you become so competent in both that you can hold the whole structure in your mind, in health and money. How your body works, how money works, how incentives work, how habits work, how compounding works, how standards work, how discipline works, how markets reward value, how reality punishes delusion. Because here's what most people don't want to admit: the majority of suffering they call life is actually low human capital. Not moral suffering, not spiritual refinement, not noble hardship, just weak capacity meeting a world that requires competence. Money isn't the root, human capital is. Money doesn't create your problems out of thin air. Money exposes what you were already neglecting. If your human capital rises, your problems rise too, just not the same problems. You graduate from how do I survive problems into how do I scale problems. You graduate from I can't breathe problems into I have options, now what do I choose problems. There's no meaningful life without problems. The upgrade is not no problems. That's the problem. The upgrade is better problems and the ability to figure them out. That's evolution. The real enemy isn't sin, it's forgetfulness. People act like the worst thing you can do is mess up. No. The worst thing is to forget you're responsible. Forgetfulness requires nothing. No courage, no discipline, no confrontation, no growth. Just a loop. A hamster on a spinning wheel running to nowhere for nothing, with an empty smile proudly calling it being realistic. At least sin is action. Forgetfulness is engineered stagnation. This evil billionaire obsession is often just a confession. This is an uncomfortable pattern I've seen in my own life. The loudest money villainizers tend to be the same ones who I've recognized are people who want everything for free, spend recklessly like money grows in soil, resent ambitious people, and depend on ambitious people, call discipline or self-control, which is I like self-control better than using the word discipline, because sometimes we can misunderstand the levels of discipline that are actually required for us, and some form of discipline is actually self-destructive. But when I'm talking about discipline in this sense, I'm talking about discipline towards your promises towards yourself, discipline towards you building yourself. These people will call self-control, people with self-control, toxic. They will call standards oppressive. That mentality is as phony as a $3 bill. And it's self-defeating. Because if you genuinely think the world has problems and you can see them clearly and you've got a mouthful of critique, but you refuse to build anything, fund anything, test anything, apply anything, then what exactly is stopping you? Lack of resources? Lack of distribution? Lack of knowledge? Lack of time? Or let's stop playing. Lack of money. And that returns us to the point you keep trying to dodge. It's your responsibility to build the capability that produces money without selling your soul in the process. Because money isn't the evil, your evasions are. Self-reliance is the baseline for credibility. I would like to see the well-off take care of themselves. If they can't, who can? That's standards. If resources don't translate into self-management, then the whole thing is upside down. If you have advantages and still can't carry yourself, then what exactly are we funding? A lifestyle? A story? A permanent excuse? No, the doctrine is advantages should turn into capability. Capability should turn into output. Output should turn into capital. Capital should reproduce. That is wealth without moral rot. Heaven has an economy, hell doesn't. Look at scripture from an economic lens for 5 minutes and then you'll just notice something. Heaven is described with structure, order, value, beauty, craftsmanship, and abundance. Hell is destruction. No building, no creation, no service, no compounding, no productive exchange. Whether you take that literally or symbolically, the principle holds. Creation is aligned with life. Destruction is aligned with death. So stop letting the world shame you for wanting resources. The question isn't should you want money. The real question is what kind of person are you becoming while you pursue it? And what are you creating with it once you have it? Penny pinching isn't about squeezing every ounce of coin. It's about the stress of expanding yourself to the ability to earn more while spending less. That's the way I look at penny pinching. It's capacity, it's human capital, it's competence increasing your margin. If you want to convert this into a lifestyle instead of just a YouTube video that you're watching, we're going to build, test, apply, and document this evidence together. Build your body like it's the engine. Health isn't vanity, it's output protection. Build your skills stack like it's your weapon. Writing, sales, systems, negotiation, analysis. Pick your core and go deep. Build discipline like it's your identity. Discipline is the invisible asset that makes every other asset usable. You're not going to be disciplined to the thought out ideas and systems that were laid out to you. You're going to be disciplined by being disciplined to the promises that you made to yourself. Not the ideas that you think that other people are going to congratulate or validate you on, or how you live your life was going to be validated to other people or their perception. You're going to be disciplined again to your own promises. That's the discipline we're talking about. And this is what's going to build your identity. This is what's going to help evolve your identity. This is what's going to help evolve your ego. Build evidence, not opinions. Document, test, apply. Keep what works, cut what doesn't. Build capital, not just income. Convert cash flow into assets that reproduce value. Build self-reliance before you build a megaphone. Authority without competence is just noise with confidence. Money isn't the root of evil. Money is the mirror. If you hate money, but you also hate being dependent, you're at war with your own freedom. If you want the world to be better, you're going to need resources, because every serious problem requires fuel. So stop romanticizing powerlessness. Stop blaming objects. Stop worshiping narratives. Build the thing that actually changes outcomes. The whole range of skills, traits, discipline, even physical health that enable people to produce more than other people. That's human capital. That's evolution in measurable form. That's the seed of wealth. That's the spine of self-reliance. And once you have it, repeat the process until your life becomes a machine that creates value on command. Build systems, repeat them, compound. Because a man with high capital isn't just rich. He's dangerous to every lie that depends on his dependence. And that is the point. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you want more, you know where to find me. Take care.